philosophy is, definiteness of purpose is the beginning of all achievements. You must be definite about what you want to do. You must have a purpose and walk into that purpose. And I think that this is my purpose. This I'm preaching. The Fathers Movement started years ago when I came here. And with the advent of COVID-19, it went on pause. Why did we embark on this movement? Education over the years revealed that there has always been a lack of parental support. Hence, our children do not perform at their utmost best. And when I liaise with the guidance counselor and we look at the demography of our student population, we realize most of them live with single parents or an older adult. Amidst all of that, there are a number of social issues. The students display behaviors like bullying, theft is very high, and there is a lack of interest in their academic performance. But what was most alarming is that most of these children are living in homes where the fathers are absent. And because of that, the influence of the father is not in their lives. So we said, okay, let's start a fathers movement where we would bring all the fathers in, we would speak to them, give them the premise on which we are calling them in, and allow them to kind of lead the process by telling us the areas in which they would want to have various speakers coming to address them. And so that is how we have organized it. We plan to do it one meeting every term. One of the topics that we have been looking at is the whole alienation process. And why did we do this? In many of the cases, the children live with the mothers and the mothers prevent the children from seeing the fathers, especially if they are not providing the financial support. And so we have been showing some videos. The guidance council have been doing some presentation. We have been bringing in different guest presenters to show the fathers how it affects the children psychologically, and to help them to understand that amidst the barrier that may exist between them and the mothers, it is important that they get involved in their children's life. And we have also allowed them to come to school. I say school is an avenue where you can come. The guidance council will facilitate you to see your child and create a bond if you can't do it any other way. So that's basically what we're doing, is just to get the fathers on board and let them know that they have an important role to play in the life of the children. Because many fathers also have the old view that when it comes to school, it's the mothers who should go. And if you call them, they will tell you that, why sir, may I work the money, the mother will come. And that's the notion. But we are dispelling that notion to let them know that, hey, there's a psychological impact here. Because who children are now will determine the kind of adults they become. They have been very receptive. However, I have had to send all the notices in the groups. Some of the mothers deliberately don't give it to the fathers because of the bad relationship that exists. I've had a few like that, and I had to call those mothers and say, look, this is not supposed to happen. You cannot set a barrier between the child and the father. You have some fathers who have to take my phone and call purposefully to say, because the children come back and say, Daddy say, nah, come here, sir. I have to take up my phone and call and say, Father, I expect you to be there, so and so. Some tell you about work. I said, okay, I am going to call another meeting on this date, so try and ask your boss. You have to get some of them here. It's like literally putting a noose around your neck and pulling them to come. I remember one father said, I think I'm an adult, and if I say I can't come, I can't come. You're making it seem mandatory that I come. I said, because it is mandatory that you come, because there's some things that you don't know and need to come to know. When he came to the meeting, he came to me after and said, why, Mr. Jackson, why make you never have this long time? You never come, But I'm glad to come, because I never know all of them things have to grow my youth. So when they come to the first meeting and they see what it is like, as a matter of fact, I must confess that when I had a minister came to do the devotional section with the men, he said, Mr. Jackson, what have you done to bring out so many fathers? And some of them shout out, is it threat? Because when I sent the letter, it was meeting with all the fathers of grade 6. before they graduated last year. I said failure to come will result in your child not being a part of the graduation exercise. And so because of that, the room was filled. There was one father who cried because when he just came to the school the evening to see the teacher and realized that it was a father's meeting. And he cried because he said, imagine he would want to be there. Nobody told him. It's a good thing he came, and he came into the session and he shared all the ills he had been having with trying to get close to his son and the bond he wants to form and how the mother gets in the way. It became a very emotional moment. And some other fathers too. He was moved to tears. Some other fathers too were moved to tears, and it was like a moment of just fathers in the room trying to empathize with each other, and it was like a whole reunion and rebonding. I think almost everybody in that room really their eyes got wet and damp at some point. So interestingly, after having the fathers meeting, and I told you we're having one this afternoon at 5. The father said, don't you think you need to have sessions like these for the mothers? And I think that's one of the things that we have been taken for granted. Not because children are with mothers, it doesn't mean they are great mothers. And it resonated with me when the question was asked, because several mothers in here we have to call in here. And some of them, I must confess, we have to trounce them firmly. The child comes to school on a Monday morning, uniform dirty here and home, coming from a mother's house. Why is this so? We went to the country, came back late, all kind of things we experience. Some mothers have them at home taking care of younger siblings. Guidance counselors have to be doing home visits. We have to do several home visits into some nooks and crannies to try to rescue our children, and they live with mothers. So the guidance counselor will be taking on that initiative to create sessions now for the mothers to train them to become better mothers as well. It's a mammoth task. It is time consuming. It saps your energy, but I do it, and I encourage my other team members to do it. Because at the end of the day, we're going to have a better society. It's all about creating a cadre of students who you hope that when you do this to rescue them, they will go out and become better parents. It may be a small drop in the bucket, because the social and moral decadence in our societies has literally engulfed us. But we can't throw our hands in the air and give up. So I say doing this is trying to rescue the perishing. The big issue is many of our parents are youngsters themselves who lack the value system, who also lack the awareness of what it takes to parents. And then when the reality of the financial crisis take them, some of them can only provide the dinner for this evening. They can't provide to come to school tomorrow. And I think frustration too takes them sometimes. And sometimes the children will come to school and tell you how their mother might tell you bad words and slap them on. Okay? It is like a potpourri of social ills, and you have to take each case uniquely and try to address it with the parents, because many times, and then sometimes there's a facade where they are pretending. They will give you a little story because it looks bad on them, but when you get into the real crux of the matter, you realize that it's a farce. How do I find time? This passion that I have now drives me to overlend myself. I really do overlend myself. Because sometimes when I talk to some colleagues, they say, Jackson, where you get time for all of that? And I don't only try to build the capacity of parents. I make sure that we build the capacity of teachers and we build the capacity of students. Because I make sure that every Thursday in this school is called staff empowerment session for any teacher who has any weakness after school from 3:30 to 4:30. We create empowerment session for our parents, not only to deal with parental skills, but also to teach them how they can help their children at home. Last night we had a meeting with all the parents of grade 2 who have underperforming students. And we started that at 5, and we have all our meetings at 5 to try to facilitate the parents coming home from work. And I told him to take scrapbook and pen and pencil and glue, and I go to the board. I teach them the little song that they need to teach them. I tell them to go and download the Fry's first 100 words. We actually teach them how to be mini teachers at school. in order to get the children to move ahead. Of course, that's not a part of my job description as principal, but as principal, you're called to do a needs assessment of your school. And the aim of school is to give quality education. So for me, whatever it takes, I will mobilize a team to make sure that dream, the ministry says every child can learn, every child must learn. I believe in it too. So that helps me, drives me as well. And for me, if you don't love it and you're not called to do it, you really shouldn't do it. But it's demanding, and on top of that, it can be very ungrateful because remember, the principal has 3 constituencies while a member of parliament has one. The students are one constituency, parent is one constituency, and teachers one constituency. And may I also say, within those 3 constituencies, you're gonna have pockets of challenges. So it's not even like you can say, okay, the challenge will come from parents only, children only. No, no, no. All 3 constituencies give you challenge, and you're gonna have to sit down and always have to be rooting for solutions to keep the dream and vision of your school alive and to make sure that quality education is